Hello, good evening, my name is Blackhead and welcome to my stream. So today I'm going to continue playing more of the Yakuza. Kiwami 2. Just a second, I need to check something. Done this? Yes, I've done this. Okay, that's good. So the last time, what I did, I went to the Omni Alliance. Is it Omni? Or Omni? Headquarters to deal with the war, but there is actually the main guy stuff of the patriarch of whatever, the blonde guy, and there's actually internal war in the Omni Alliance. So yeah, and also they shot the police guard that is saving our ass, and we are saving her right now, or something like that. Yes, and we are back to, I think, to Southern Border. Also that. Yeah. Also, I need that. We try today to do to limit my FPS to see if this game will not be lagging anymore or doing like micro lags. To try that. I think that this is usually the problem. Even though I have vertical sync on, put this off, but still limited FPS. Try this. Maybe this is also the problem. We'll see. I don't know. Okay, let's continue with the game. Yes, we are on the streets. Doing side quests. We'll continue to do some side quests and maybe some main story. We'll see. Where is she? Today is also a hot day. Okay, that club. Okay. Oh, hey Kiruhan. Hope you're feeling better. Okay, you're that old enough bunting to meet deep pockets. Oh, that guy. I'm good again, son. I'm good to withdraw a fighter myself. Though I'm not so keen on losing. I'm Dutch when I can, I guess. Sounds a bit weak, my boy. I put 300 grand into this machine, Jesus Christ. That's just today. That's a lot of money. 300 grand can really keep in the lights on my foyer. That's a big room. Yeah, right. Anyway, I've been at it all day and I wanna spice it up. I put 10 grand on the line pure game. Fighter 2.1 is my current prediction. And right now I'm on 3 winning streaks. Beat my streak and I will fork over the cash. That's good? Yeah, play. Ready to lose. Oh, damn it. So let's see.
Fight 1. Ready. Go!
Okay, it's kinda... Oh. There we go. It's like Goku against that dude.
Fight. 1. Ready. Go.
Okay. Oh, that's not very tough.
Home to mama now.
Fight. 2. Ready. Go.
Whew, okay. Dong.
Fight. 3. Ready.
Oh. Ooh, noise. Oof, that was close. Dong. Dong.
Fight. 1. Ready. Go.
Ouch. Damn it, he's much harder. Of course he is the drunken. Oof. Yeah. Oh, damn it. I didn't know that was a ring out. Damn it.
Fight. 1. Ready. Go.
God damn it.
お主がいくらあがいてもわしが勝てるのだ。
Fight. 2. Ready. Go.
Oh, that was so close. Yeah.
Ready.
Oh, fight. Noise.
Fight. 1. Ready. Go.
Oh. God damn it. Okay, okay.
Ring out.
It's... Damn, she's hard. She's much harder.
あなたにはクールが足らないわ。
Fight. 2. Ready. Go.
Damn it. Oh, come on.
Fight! One, ready, go!
Jesus. That was terrible.
あなたには空風が足らないわ。
Fight! Two, ready, go!
Yeah, no way.
あなた
So those are the combos. Maybe, okay.
には空風が足らない。
One, ready, go!
Nope, only one. Only one doesn't work. One
あな
punch.
たには空風が足らないわ。
Fight! Two, ready, go!
Ah, come here. Hey! Nope, I cannot defeat her. No way.
あなたには空風が足らないわ。
No, no, continue.
There's no way to stop here.
Yeah, I want to do that. Well, looks like I won. You want to tell that Anderson? You're supposed to be making me looking good. Did you tell it I love this game? Exactly, I tried so hard. What are you doing? If you're really watching, you should be glad you took the game seriously. Put it another way. We have fell out winning out the back. That's a point. There is the victory at all. Very sorry for getting upset. Here, take this for now, punch. Okay, thank you. Suppose we want to share. Shaving off? Shaving? Stunning. Okay. How to get out? So two of them are on the bridge. Hey, what's going on here? Nice to see you, Kiwami. This is actually trying to whistle out. Whistle his way out, paying me back what he owes. Please, I just need a little bit more. I will pay you back as soon as I can scrape the cash together. I better get the food on the table right now. I don't give a damn. I'm going to get money and I don't care. I'm going to sell your house. Do it. Jeez, he's playing on it. Like, intervene! I can't let treat this guy like this. So what is going to be, Junior? Are you paying up? Hey, he said he needs just time. You won't have to give him that. It's not like you need the cash. Please at least until tomorrow. Sorry on my life. Fine, I'll get you off 24 hours. But if you don't get money, there will be hell to pay instead. Actually, I got a better idea. If you can't pay me, I will take your own what Kiwami instead. What is it? Sorry, but this is what you get for opening your big mouth. You should know what you're getting into. Besides, no, I got insurance in case some friend tries to skip it down. Ain't running, I'm going to pay. I heard the man. Then it's settled. Remember, 24 hours, meet me back here. When you get it, or else. One way or another, you're paying up. so much, Takeda. I was weighing whenever it would be safer to jump into the rear than dealing with him. What? Are you serious? I am. Kanematsu is a real cool lieutenant. I borrowed 100 grand from it when the factory run was at risk of going under. Every bank I tried shutting me out. I realized quick as a whip how bad the screw wasn't long before the lieutenant ran into the 3 mil. How is that young boss? Beats me. He started making threats at the point, and he said he would take my factory if I didn't pay him. You really did that? Alright. I got the bigger order coming tomorrow, so I should be able to get me pay off back. That is how I live afterwards and worry about it. Anyway, I gotta get better to get work. Back to work, Jesus Christ. I should probably see how this ends. Yes, indeed. Next one. I guess this is the end. What's wrong? Hey, something wrong? No, it's nothing. Don't try yourself for me. Tell me what is going on. Sometimes that helps. I just tried to think who I am, tried to decide. I screwed up really bad and cost my job as soon as the cash carry started to drying up. The wife walked out of me. Thought going after her, but it was too much of a freaking car. Hey, so I don't got even a courage to end my pain. If only I could turn life around, or even just find a shed of confidence. Got any ideas? Peaceful, right? Here I'm asking some guy on the street if he can turn my life around. Yeah, can't get more plain than this. Something that's helping changing side. Maybe that's because self-book from a counselor, so you can just not think it's not like I would never read it anyway. Yeah, give it this book.
Huh?
What's this? Apparently one of the most popular books in the country. I don't even know if it can, but it might be worth giving a read. Yeah, I heard of this guy. It's cancer sake his new book. Been looking for a copy for weeks. Hey, from Shida. You are Kiryu. Thank you, man. Enough, Kiryu-san. You were the only guy who stopped to talk to me, and now this. My new life starts today. I gotta come here and crack this baby open. Yeah, fine, take that book. Yeah, that not sounds who can appreciate a book more than I do. Who are you? I think he's my helpful friend. Hold up, punk. Can I go touching my babe? Get away with it, huh? Take it easy, Geraldo. It's probably didn't mean it. I'm talking that is touching my sweet baby Kathy, and he's ain't getting away with it. Cause if Kathy, that's probably a car. Talking about the car? Of course I am. I scrubbed this beauty down with the bad. Oh, it's probably a Mercedes. The best wax money could buy, and you just manhandled her. Yeah, think Kathy ain't worth that kind of money while you're making Kathy cry, asshole. This is how you feel, such being a dick man. Okay, I understand too, but no, I don't. I do have a car, but Jesus Christ. What's that, Kathy? You're sad because fool got dirty? There, Nash. Big Daddy here is going to make it all better. You're going to pay him very hard. Because give me a hand here. You're going to scratch a car. Let's start a fight here. Shut it, I'm going to lay a finger on my cat and get away with it. Yeah. Ouch, hook, how? Why? I missed it. Jeez, okay. Oh. Bada. Okay. There we go. Bye. Somebody call me around with some packing, yeah. Sorry about this, man. It is a good guy full about this card of his. Maybe it will make it twice if he throws a punch. Here, let me apologize. Okay, thank you. Akira have cats full capping him line. Good luck with that. Well, done with this bullshit yet? Maybe you should take some time off. Huh? What's that? I think I'm late. Sorry, babe. Big Daddy here will be better man from here on. Okay. Alright then. Another one there. Okay, at this guy's house.
いらっしゃいませ。
It's a bit over. I think it's better to eat because you can get all those points. No problem, lady. Pa-pa-pa. That's quite a lot. Stats. Go. Park, throw. Hey, Chicago. How are you doing, man? Okay, let's go here. Put it back off. Oh. I enjoy these cute little outbursts. Every breath sets on my heart. I'll play, you know. Said no. Come on, sweetie. You know money's no object. Just give me a number and it's yours. Million, 5 million, or would I 100 million to do it? Go away with all of the cash in the world. Now get your stinking breath out of our face already. Young lady, do you know who you're addressing? Be honored. Is that the rich guy or this the guy? Keep walking, cue ball. You can see, lady, you are trying into the conversation here. Doing good. Alright, I'm doing fine. It's a little bit unbearable, this heat. I mean, even though it's not too hot. Yeah, it's nice. The heat and the humidity is kind of killing me slowly. Up for beer today. I wanted to watch that Clarkson thing, you know. I mean, not Clarkson, the Grand Tour. How long is it? Do you know how long is it? I mean, we can go for one beer and that's about it, you know, for shorter. That's spit out. It does. It's 1.5 hours. It's kinda long. Okay. For short one. Long. That's my vibe, damn it. Huh? I got into it. Don't worry, Mika. I won't let this old foggy lay finger on you. When did you get so confident? It's like a different man. Since your playtime was hit with a snack. Mika, sir, teach him this scream what happens when you toss me. Everyone, sir, would be my pleasure. Wait. Ouch. So it is that old guy. There's more bots that came for a while, came with a kayak. And let's discontinue. Hey, you want some to play? Tough guy? I would oblige. Oh, you're the guy from the bridge, so our friend has a knight in shining armor. Yeah. You seem familiar somehow, but no matter, I will take you both down. Even a mature man. Damn it, I had a hit. Nice. Smack you, smack you, smack you, smack, smack. There we go. Give me console. Since I was outmatched. Yeah, okay, honey. Okay, I did it. Oh, come on. Only because of this guy I was fighting. I gotta give you credit though. You stood to your ground for me and I admit that felt good. That old Corey didn't do anything to you, did he? No, I'm fine. But ain't that Seiki? Big garment author. Just typical politician. Another creepy signball. How touching. Here, I trust this will be enough to ensure you don't breathe a word of this anyone. Huh? Isn't that a bribe? Oh, no. I have no need for it. After all, as I said, it's my national best-selling book. There's a lot to life there, money. Come on, Mita. Where are we going now? No, we can go today. Thanks for coming. And you did. I started hunting me in the bar, and then I would take no for mess. But I wonder though, where did all courage come from? Never instinct were caught up. Jesus Christ. When I was drunk in my sorrows over Iowa Bridge when this guy came and made some time for me. I admit I was almost at the end of my road. Yeah. I ran home, cracked it open. It turns out whole thing chock full of cliché bullshit was rather better off as a tourist waiter. Well, I was practically laughing my ass off by the end. That trash in bestseller quality at all. Italian. Got thinking, though, there's no right to reason life. I just gotta roll with the punches. And that's a waste of ink to succeed. Then why couldn't I? I cried coughing that come flooding right back. We got a lot of this, that guy who was screaming on me. He's the one who wrote that book. Wait, that really got a job. Ain't the furry old bag of bones was Kasa's sake. What the chances? That's a riot, crazy. It's a crazy world we live in. It only makes me feel by only makes me feel more confident knowing that Whitback stuck it to reach on that bush. Jesus Christ, the settings, not the same, the freaking sentences. Jesus Christ. I owe big time, man. I never would have happened to you. And stop to talk to me. Ashikaka, we need to go right at the hour 8, not 9, as fast as possible now. Because I want to go back and then watch it today. Because tomorrow I want to watch something else. I said I would do Jimmy a dinner. I would pay for it. This stack of cash that old teacher gave me. Sorry, I got some business to take care of, but you enjoyed a nice dinner with your here. I would be English, take it. Molded Molligan, thank you. Thank you again, bye now. Need to watch each other's backs. Go water it now, not in like late, you know. I can go back to that bridge. Because going at night, it's like kinda late. Sorry. Oh, he started. Lol. Well, I didn't kill you, since our mutual friend from factory is a no-show. I'm guessing he skipped the pass, so I'm ready to pay 3 million he owes me. Or gonna start charging interest on you too. Hold on, I got the money. This is a lot of it. We'll be judge of that. It's all here by count, man. I've brought it back. What? I would be like if I hadn't considered it. I couldn't leave it on Kiryu-san. Not after he steps into the happy. Thanks again, Kiryu-san. I might not have a single end to my name anymore, but I gotta work hard to rebuild my life from the ground up. Good luck. I'm sure it won't be easy, but honest work has to pay off. Has a way to pay off, I think. By the way, I have to give you the much better something. Zero plate. Okay, that's good. Take care, Kiryu-san. Huh. This got shocked in the nick of time. You're lucky, Kirhan. I was getting ready to collect on ya. You really didn't trust him? The only thing life in trust is a balance checkbook. Words are spit. If you can't back them up with the cash, that's what good are ya? I'm freaking dyslexic and this is giving me a hard time to read, especially in English. But I got my cash back. All's well that ends well. By the way, can I ain't local? You from Tokyo? Yeah. Funny enough, I was looking at someone land developments in this area. Heard that at New Kamurocho Hills you're building? They're building, not you're building. I might scoop it up with move. You can pull the whole thing. Of course I can. Ain't amazing what you can do with a little green. If men are the cogs of society, money is the oil that keeps them churning. As long as you got the grease to decide how fast the cogs turn. Power, freedom, sex, that was the cold hard cash. I wouldn't say I agree. Can't talk to me when your bank account gets a few more zeros. You will change your tune. As I say, money is one times money, and there's another poor sap who's late on his payments. See you around here, huh? Think we might be getting into the management soon. That's not bad. Okay, let's get running. Oh no! Run. Okay, I think we always run them. Hey, but it's a better change. Even 100. 100 yen would be really solid. Huh? Kanamatsu? Is that you? Oh, Paint Kiryu. All people like to see me in this. What happened to you? Remember when I thought I was going to buy up Orocho Hills? Yeah, something about buying the whole development. Well, one of my lady friends had a connection for a real estate company that said he has the deeds. And I put every last cent to that deal. Turns out it was one big scam. Company didn't exist. Well, the moment my lady was... Oh, Jesus, I accidentally skipped. Can't go back? Nope. Anyway, I lost everything. I'm background broken, burning trash to stay warm on the streets. Sorry to hear that. This is what I get for trusting people. Kiryu-han, I know I was doing a piece of work, but I could really use some cash. You know, 100 would go a long way. Can you remember last time I'm starving? Yeah, Medusa shared his wealth with me before, but he's also around the stone shark. What should I give him? I can give him 10,000 yen. But are you sure? I'm sure. That'd be a lesson to put about trust. Thank you so much, Kiryu-han. I'm so ashamed I would cry. This ain't much, but I want to appreciate it. Here, then, take this. Ooh, strength! You know, I was a damn fool, messing around like some kind of celebrity with all of those girls, making honest fellas lives harder. But when my own money dried up, all my friends gathered like spiders in a flood. Money changes people, you know. Changed me. That's for damn sure. You gotta be careful out there. Don't let money to get into your head. Exactly right. It took this for you to see, but you already come around. I guess I have. It cost me millions, but the lesson I learned was worth at least that. And now I got nothing to lose. I'm going to live my life to the fullest. Find some pure happiness, untainted by money. As passion about the things you are, I'm sure you can pull it off. Good luck. Thank you, Kiryu-han. For everything. Take care of yourself now. Hey, I think no more side quests here for now. So I'm gonna go main quest. So let's go here. Check on our lady police. Here's some gift. System data from Yakuza has been found. Okay. Let's have that. You look alright. She's moving, so.
Oi.
Hey, there you go. Here, thanks, sugar. Save me the trouble. Ass clean. Ass clean.
病院にいたのか手慣れたもんだったな。
かなり昔のことや。
やっぱりか。狭山とはかなり親しいようだな。
親しい？当たり前や。うちはこの子の親や。
え？
まあ血はつながってへんけどな。一応これでも母親や。
義理の母親ってことか。
そういうよりも育ての親っちゅう方が近いな。この子孤児やねん。
And thank you for the follow. Mayu Jior. Thank you.
そうか。通
Thank
り
you.
でな。
Welcome to the gate
どう
room.
したん？
You're awesome.
いや、実は撃たれた時、あいつは葵って店に行けと言ったんだ。
それが何なん？
普通人間はああいう状況下で店の名前を言わない。母親や父親のことを先に言うんだ。
へえ、そういうもんなん？なんでわかるん？
俺も孤児だったからな。
そうか。まあカオルにとったらうちはほんまのおかんちゃうしな。
すまん、気に障ったか。
ああ、いえいえ、気にせんといて。うちは全くそういうの気にせえへんから。
そうか。
そんなことよりあんたカオルと同業？それとも探偵さんかなんか？
いや、そんな立派なもんじゃねえ。
え？なんなん？
まあ警察の敵って言ったところだ。
え？
ママおしゃべりしすぎやで。
痛むか。
あんたに心配される筋合いじゃないわ。
あんたちょっとここまで運んでくれはったんやで。礼ぐらい言うたらどないやの。
ヤクザ風情に礼言うほど私も落ちちゃないわ。
あんたほんまにな。
まそれだけ口が聞けりゃもう大丈夫だ。
Why is that superficial? Superficial?
しかしゴーダ龍二がこれほど手回しがいいとは思わなかった。
これは合田龍二の仕業じゃないわ。
え？
合流会は力で相手をとことん追い詰めてとどめを刺す。それが奴らのやり方よ。こんなプロの殺し屋を雇うような手の込んだ真似はしないわ。
プロの殺し屋？
あの距離からライフルを扱える者はそうはいないわ。それにこの弾丸
どうかしたのか？
通常のライフルで使用する弾丸よりも口径が小さい。殺すつもりじゃなかったのかもしれないわ。
つまり相手は俺を脅そうと。
さあわからないわ。それは直接犯人から聞くしかないわね。どこ行くの？
雇い主を探す。このままじゃ俺は誰と戦えばいいかわからないからな。
それならこれ持って小副長の雀荘へ行きなさい。
情報屋か。
三人宅で撃っているちゃんちゃんこを着た男。あなたがレートはと聞くと向こうがいつもどのくらいで撃ってると聞き返す。そこであなたはあんたに任せると答える。
あんたに任せるか。
そう。そしたら相手はデタラメなレートを言うわ。とにかくそれを受けて。
分かった。
ちょっと待って。一言言っておくけどあなたは府警の監視下にあるのよ。逃げるような真似しないでね。私の電話一本で即座に逮捕できるんだから。分かったわね。
Okay. Okay, she's feisty. Any new side quests? Can't let the folk without intelligence SWAT scene. First off, that my park, right? Asking for information and all, thinking that they are all breaking or something. But I gotta be as good as Yonka just getting to the place now. Sorry, Yonka. Don't know who Yonka is. Any Mayong player worth his salt will be smart. Thanksgiving about his name. So the pit of dogs underlying are Yonka. Everyone is like John. Yonka, wake up. No, this is a way either occasion. But to you, catcher. Kind of sad story. Wait, is that the guy? Huh. You have any key? Oh. There's a key. One key here too. Oh, it's syrup. No, skip it, skip it. No, shut up! Don't follow me. Oh Jesus, guy. Come on, come on, come on. There you go.
おい
Hey, Yonka. Hey, buddy. Think you can snag me one of the damn prizes and say kitty cats? Got my eye on the red one. Sure, sounds good. This.
横に移動します。よく狙う。次はどこを狙いますか？移動します。うまく狙えましたか？
Not even sure. The problem is that I can't see the.
自動で動きます。
Oh, I got one.
おめでとうございます。よく狙ってください。次はどこを狙いますか？移動します。うまく狙えましたか？自動で動きます。
No, okay. Okay, one more, one more.
よく狙ってください。次はどこを狙いますか？移動します。うまく狙えましたか？
Maybe too ugly.
自動で動きます。
Ah, come on. So I was just lucky. Dude.
繰り返しプレイすることで上達します。
Whoa, nice job, buddy. Oh, Yukiki. God, Jesus, Yukiki. You okay? I love this. Yuki. So you are Yonka, are you? There was a time when I went by that name. I gave out the game. I would stop. I wouldn't have if those dirty Yakuza hadn't cheated me. Bastards forcing me into debt. I was okay running away from them. But now sons of bitches. And my little girl, Yukiko. They're telling me if I ever see her again, I've gotta give them 5 million yen. Jesus Christ. I say, that won't happen. I have million I could have with you. Not exactly, I think to ask for guide, isn't it? Sorry, but I'm already after. It's an invitation to Richie Towers. Richie Towers, you need a cherry blossom tile? See, it's a special tile that they made to act kinda like a membership card. Tell you what, you get my baby back, girl, and this tile is all yours. Take a look. You can have the card. Am I right? Ah, yes, I can. And I have to, but I will be fine. I will help you. You will? No shit. Well, I got those coin lockers across the Shannon Bridge. There's a guy waiting by those, expending 5 million. I'm sure you can figure it out. Don't let them hurt my sweet Kiko, though. Let's go there. So it goes there. Yes. Mana. Ah, damn it. Slice. Thank you for the money. That was lame.
しばらく寝てろ。
Okay, another crowd, I think. Huh? Who the fuck are you? I just say Yonka sent me. What the fuck happened to him?
Yeah.
You got the money? The last thing you're getting from me is money. Aha, that's a joke. That's how we did the podcast. Okay. Yeah! Oh, nice. This. Oh, it's still here. Easy enough. Okay, people are behind today. Just disappeared. Mercy, man, mercy. Look, the girl, she's by the river. Near the umbrella. The guy in the red clothes has her. Yeah, okay. Okay, hey, help me out here. This is the damn cat off my head. Giving the devil cat a pretty girl name like Yukiko. Passes back near scratch my face off. You think Yukiko is a cat? Oh. Okay. This cat's not struggling. Yep. Thought it was a human. This dude is far away, man. Yukiko, you poor hurt. You poor thing. Thank God you're all safe. Well, there's a cherry blossom out. Here's the deal. Thank you! You can have this too. It's a mining search guide. Quite happy. Where's myself, actually? Okay, let me check that. Can't read it. Yeah, damn fool. Let's go in it.
いらっしゃいませ。
君 ぜ。さあ行くか。
There we go.
ありがとうございました。
Going to the parlor. Oh, another one. Oh, it's syrup bread. Okay. I think I have how much? 2 keys? Not actually one. Okay. Here's the tomates and invite only. I can't let the dishes once. I think I have one of these. Oh, you can also that? Not that it matters. Come on in. Thank you. Thank you very much. Need to find the man with appropriate path quest. It's 3 other. I mean, there's only
Boy.
Hey, what's red? How much you usually pay for? It's your call. If anyone of this spot is bullet, I need to know where it came from. 100 grand, take it or leave it. Let's pay.
Kora, Omi Takashima ya.
高島。
寺田、いや、東上界5代目とは兄弟分でした。
そうや。この弾丸、大陸からの密輸銃でしか使用できへんタイプの特殊なもんや。今関西でこのルートから武器を調達しとるんは近江高島会しかない。
高島が他に流してるという線は
ないな。あの高島っちゅうやつやそないな危ない橋は渡らんのや。他に流して足つくような真似はせん。密輸はあくまで安うてええ武器を手に入れる手段でしかないんや。
だがどうしてそこまで分かっていて警察は動かないんだ。
さあな、それはわしにもわからん。だがおっと、あかんあかん。これ以上は言えまへんわ。わしが話せんのはここまでや。
なぜ高島が。
Interesting. Why him?
じゃあ計画は成功したんだな。
はい。親父の指示通り軽く怪我させる
程度。
弾はどうした？
それも手はず通りです。あの桐生って男がよほどのバカじゃない限り、車内に残った弾からうちの仕業だと気がつくでしょう。
そうか。
でもどうしてこのようなことを。
これで奴は誰も信じることができなくなる。今はそれだけで十分だ。
わかりました。で、この後はどうしましょうか。
しばらくの間待機だ。このまま泳がしとけ。時間はある。
はい。それでは。
なあお前、電話しとったんかい。取り調べなめとんのか。
単なるビジネスの話ですよ。私もいろいろ忙しいんで。
極道風情がカッコつけんなや。こっちは裏でお前が汚いことぎょうさんやっとんの知っとんのじゃ。噂やと己んとこの組織がライフル密輸しとるそうやないか。
任意の取り調べですよね。お答えする義務はないはずですが、別件の取り調べでもやるつもりですか？
いや、
こっちは被害者なんですよ。捕まえるなら桐生一馬の方なんじゃないですか。
他の幹部連中の話と違うかな。お前桐生の味方ちゃうんか。
まさか。近江は被害者です。 さっさとキリュウをあの女刑事さんに捕まえさせてくださいよ。簡単な話ですよね。
お前なんでサイマのこと。
まあいいでしょう。ところで別所さん、本部長から何かお達しがあったんじゃないですか。
ああそうや、ご丁重にお帰りいただけって言われたわ。もう帰って、釈放や。
そうですか。では。
高島、お前何企んどるか知らんが、南部府警の上層部と繋がっとっても逃げられへんど。合流会の肩持つような真似しくさったらすぐに同じや。分かっとんな。
別所さん、もう極道と警察が喧嘩する時代は終わったんですよ。
Okay. There's that.
まだ教えてもらいたいことがある。
なんや。
さっきの続きだ。高島の裏を教えてく
れ。別料金や。それにちっとばかり値がはんで。
いくらだ。
30万や。
I don't have that kind of money. I mean, I can go and sell the stuff, but I think now are we going to get into the business, maybe? Run! Sorry.
いらっしゃいませ。
Get the cell. Close enough.
ありがとうございました。
Half a million, yeah? Okay, yo, Kirhan. How's Hagen? Hanging from with the information dealer named Askek. Ever heard of him? Askek. You're funny with the bad cards now, Kirhan. The guy looked me up once, though, asking about the price of almonds. So diamonds, to know almonds are myself, and I suggest to keep it, because I'm sure it ain't pretty. Oh yeah, you know something? I forgot, but I recall a local barkeeping talking about animals too. Sketchy bastard. Thinking about 100 grand, 200 grand to pop. Too rich from a buck. Maybe bartender could give you a scoop if you manage to track him down. Maybe I will. Thanks. I think they're not talking about almonds, but diamonds, so yeah. Sorry. Sorry. So they said about the cook. Let's go up here. This is the thing. What's this?
いらっしゃいませ。
おい。
Yeah, I have heard of you. You're the guy who asking about almonds. Perhaps I am interested? Maybe. What will it run for me? 110, son. Pricey, aren't they? But good to know. Do you have your interests? Sir, I need to pay up the phone.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm alright. Thanks for the tip. Something about the tip. Okay. Bye. At least you can outrun them. Heard you're a big player in the almond market. That's something I would like to discuss. Hey, that's fine. Fine, let's drop that and call it a fair trade, huh? Takashima, hey, to auto you brand connections, all sorts of government officials. But his loyalty to the Omni Alliance 5th channel is what got him where he is today. Now he's at the top of the food chain. Can you remember a time when he was an officer? Flip phone. Flip phone.
え？ほんまでっか？わかりました。
世話になったな。
ああ、待てや。桐生一馬さん。
どうして俺の名前を？
あんた1億円になってしもたわ。
なんだと？
懸賞金や。悪思わんといてな。その首に1億がかかっとりゃ誰でも目が血走るわな。
1億とは随分安く見られたもんだな。
まあ登場界先代の首としちゃ安いかもしれへんけど、わしらにとったら大金や。死んでもらうで。
Okay, we're fighting. Ouch. Nice. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Come on. Bam. Nice. Easy enough.
俺の首に懸賞金をかけたのは誰だ？
知るか。やめろ。戦国組や。
あの戦国のことか。
そうや。
まあ、あとは勝手にやっとくん
Of course, it's game.
寺田の香典が必要やったら声かけてくださいや。
こうだ、高島戦国に狙われて、あんた八方下がりやで。
どうして俺の首を？
あんたは跡目争いのゴールなんや。
俺が
そうか。ほな雀荘で桐生を仕留めることはできへんかったっちゅうこっちゃな。わかった。せっかくあの女デカの情報源を先取りして銭に困った情報屋連中を焚きつけたんですが、
ないな素人、桐生の首は取れん。
次の手打ちますか？
まあええんや。少しは大阪で遊ばしたれや。
せやけどこのままやったら合流会に遅れとります。
あの若者に何ができるっちゅうねん。所詮正面からドンパチやらかして無所益がええとこや。あのキリっちゅうやつ絶対にカムロ町に戻る。そうなればあの若者も後を追うはずや。その前に
What do we have here? Ah, the money.
この10億カムロ町にばらまいてこいや。
わかりました。
He's a big spender. We should get him back to Aoi. Oi! So now we're able to do it again. Sneak by.
何見とんねん。
No!
こんなとここっち来いや。なんやおっさん。
God damn it, this screwed me up.
おい。
What is this? Okay. Get me, don't get me.
フォー社員で働くのはやめて、うちの店に来てくれないか？
ですが、もうフォー社員に入るって伝えちゃいましたし、今日からすぐ仕事を任されて。
では給料はフォー社員の倍を出させてもらう。それでどうだね？
倍ですか？わかりました。フォー社員はやめてあなたのお店で働きます。
いい返事だ。それではこれからよろしく頼むよ、桐谷さん。
Seems like a full shine for fire, but that's a shame. What? What does that?
フォーシャン。ここがさっきの男を引き抜かれた店か。
来てくださったんですね。お待ちしてましたよ。あなたのような凄腕の経験者に来ていただいて本当に助かりました。これからよろしくお願いしますね、桐谷さん。いや、桐谷店長。
何を言ってるんだ。俺
俺は桐生だ。
桐生桐谷じゃなかったっけ。まあいいや。さあさあどうぞ中へ中へ。さあさあさあ。
おい。
Okay. I think finally we're getting into the business.
小雪ちゃん、新しい店長さんが来てくれましたよ。お待ちしてました桐谷さん。
Oh, lady. Hello.
あら、どうかしたの小雪ちゃん。
この方、資料に貼ってあった写真のお顔となんか違う気が。
写真写りが悪い人なんじゃないの。もしかしたら気にしてるかもしれないわよ。あなたも一流のキャバ嬢を目指すなら、そういうデリカシーのないことを軽く口にしちゃダメよ。
いや、でもそういう次元じゃないくらい違いますよ。人違いなんじゃないですか。
人違い？はあ。
I mean, yes, it
小
did.
雪ちゃんったら何を言ってるんだか。人違いだわ。
だから言ってるじゃないですか。
That's this guy.
先ほどはすみませんでした、桐生さん。
まあ気にすんな。あんたここのオーナーなのか。
はい、申し遅れました。私この店フォーシャインのオーナーのゆきと申します。こちらはうちのナンバーワンの小雪ちゃんです。
どうもこんにちは、小雪です。
ほう、ナンバーワンか。すごいじゃねえか。
ありがとうございます。まあでもナンバーワンといってもうちには女の子は3人しかいないんですけどね。
3人。
ちなみにスタッフもオーナーである私一人です。だから最近は店を回すことができなくて、ずっと営業できずにいたんです。追加スタッフもなかなか見つからなくて、ようやく探し出せたのが桐谷さんなんです。
そういえば桐谷さん来ませんね。もう約束の時間は過ぎてるのに。
その桐谷という男なんだが、多分この店には来ないと思うぞ。
え？
さっきその男がスーツを着た男に買収されているのを見かけたんだ。給料を倍出すからフォーシャインに行かずうちに入れと。
そんな。
どうします？今日は久々にお店を開けるって結構お金かけて宣伝したんで、お客さん来ちゃいますよ。
まずいわね。これで営業できなかったら損失は莫大。お店の信用もだだ下がりよ。どうしよう。せめて手伝ってくれるスタッフがもう一人でもいれば。
俺はやらないぞ。
そこをなんとかお願いしますよ。今日だけはなんとか営業しないとうちのお店はおしまいなんです。ちゃんと日当としてお給料は出させていただきますので、お願いできませんでしょうか。
そうは言ってもキャバクラの店長なんてやったことないぜ。
大丈夫です。うちは初心者大歓迎的な方向性のお店ですから。
私たちもいろいろサポートさせていただきますし。
だが、
お願いします桐生さん。今日は久々にうちのお客さんが来てくださる大切な日なんです。楽しみに待っててくれたお客さんたちを裏切りたくないんです。無理な頼みであることは承知の上です。でもお願いします。
お願いします。
仕方ねえな。今回だけだぞ。
いいですか？
ああ。だがさっきも言ったように俺は素人だ。あんまり期待しないでくれよ。
桐生さん、ありがとうございます。
ゆきさん、そろそろ開店準備をしないと。
そうね。では桐生さん、いえ桐生店長、よろしくお願いしますね。
Guess you're working with them. Options when you talk to Yuki. Prepare to open. Before opening, you choose a girl to welcome. Ranking match. Reviews. Fast style was higher. With the new girls, it's going to be hard. Okay. Opening for business boss. Ah.
いらっしゃいませお客様。
いらっしゃいませ。
ようこそフォーシャイン。
小雪です。よろしくお願いします。いらっしゃいませ。
いいねいいね。
いらっしゃいませお客様。
楽しい。
お待ちしてました。お待たせしました。
美人さんだな。
いらっしゃいませ。
かわいい。
Okay.
いらっしゃいませ
どうも
お客様。
盛り上がってきたよ。君
盛り上がりましょう。
美人さんだな。
Keep spending that money.
お願いします。
Yeah. Ah, tall. Okay.
ありがとうございました。
Yeah, get into the fun.
お願いします。
お会計ですね。
また来てくださいね。
ようこそフォーシャイン。お会計ですね。
延長で。
ご延長ありがとうございます。
いつまで待たせんだ。
I don't know what I need to look here.
盛り上がっていきましょう。
Oh, he's more like the skill. Yeah, sorry about that. Oh yeah, the money, we're getting the money. I said, I'm sorry.
また来てね。盛り上がりましょう。
かわいいね。
お会計ですね。
ありがとうございました。
ようこそフォーシャイン。
かわいいな。 楽しませてくれよ。
いらっしゃいませ。
楽しい。
お
Sorry. Almost level 2 fever. Oh, that's because oh. Voice.
ありがとうございました。
なんとか乗り切れたな。
桐生さん、ありがとうございました。本当に初めてですか？経験者みたいでしたよ。私も思いました。桐生さん、才能ありますよ。
お世辞はいい。だがなかなかいい店だと思うぜ。客もみんなこの店を気に入ってるようだしな。
ありがとうございます。
おやおや、スタッフを引き抜かれて営業できずに落ち込んでるかと思いきや、楽しそうじゃないですか。
あいつはあの引き抜きの男。
神崎さん。
神崎
グループっていう巨大キャバクラ経営企業の会長さんです。私たちに嫌がらせや営業妨害をしているのはこの人なんです。
小雪ちゃん、まだこんなしょぼい店舗にいるのかい？早くうちに来なよ。可愛がってあげるからさ。
お断りです。
釣れないね。ま、そんなところが君の可愛いところだけどね。
神崎くん、今日は何の用？また邪魔でもしに来たのかしら。
きついなあ、ゆきさん。今日はね、これを持ってきたんですよ。
これは？
キャバクラグランプリの案内です。
キャバクラグランプリ？
何なんだそれは。
全国からの強豪キャバクラ店が集まって売り上げナンバーワンを競う業界最大のイベントです。グランプリで優勝したお店は宣伝効果で超人気店になると言われています。
Ah, okay, so.
ほう、そんなものがあるのか。
ええ。ちなみに去年のチャンピオンはそこにいるキララさんが率いるお店、蒼天堀サンシャイン。神崎グループ最大、そして日本最大の売り上げを誇るお店です。どうも。
なんと今回は特別推薦枠としてフォーシャインが選ばれたんです。
でもフォーシャインは在籍キャバ嬢の関係で出場資格を満たしてないはず。一体どうして？
いやー、私も元同僚としてフォーシャインがこのまま潰れるのを黙って見てられなかったんですよ。そこで大会本部に掛け合いまして、今回特別に推薦枠を用意してもらったんです。ほんと感謝してもらいたい気分ですよ。
よく言うわよ。本当はフォーシャインにとどめを刺したいだけでしょ。
とどめ？
全国から強豪が集まるキャバクラグランプリに弱小のフォーシャインが参加してもボロ負けするのは確実。大会でそんな恥をさらしたら店の評判や風格はダダ落ち。ただでさえ経営難のフォーシャインがそんなことになったらもう生き残ることはできないでしょ。
そんな。
おいおいおい、ダメじゃないかキララ。こっちの思惑をばらしちゃ失礼だろ。ま、せいぜい頑張ってくださいよ、フォーシャインの皆さん。それじゃ大会でお会いしましょう。
Okay. She's creepy.
どうしよう。ユキさん、大会本部に事情を伝えて辞退した方が。 ゆきさん、小雪ちゃん出よ、キャバクラグランプリ。でもこのままだと出ようと出まいとフォーシャインはもうすぐ潰れてしまうわ。もちろん勝てる見込みが薄いことは分かってる。でも可能性が少しでもあるなら、たとえ恥をかいてでも私はそれにかけてみたい。戦わないで負けるのも嫌だし、どうせ死ぬなら戦って死にたいじゃない、ゆきさん。それに私は信じてるんだ、このお店を。小さいけれど他のどのお店よりもお客様を大事にできる、そんなお店が負けるわけがないじゃないってね。そうですね、やりましょうゆきさん。よーし、そうと決まればあとは突き進むのみ。ヒルさん頑張りましょうね。
I guess.
俺もか。
お願いしますよ、乗りかかった船じゃないですか。それにヒルさん才能ありますってね。
そうは言っても俺もいろいろとやることがあるし。
可能な範囲で構いませんからね。お礼も必ずしますし、メリット満載ですよね。
まったくしょうがねえな。わかったよ。
やったー、桐生さん絶対キャバクラリーグを勝ち上がってこのお店を人気店にしましょうね。
ああ、
そうだ、せっかく仲間も増えたことだし、久々にあれやろうか。いいですね。
あれ
いきますよ。ワン、ツー、スリー、フォーシャイン。
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's not impressed.
うまく決まったね。桐生さんも次はちゃんと覚えて一緒にやってくださいね。
Oh, nah.
ああ、もしかしてとんでもねえもんを引き受けちまったのか。
Oh, yeah, I have a nice dress, man. Can I do him? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Running, can already run it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
お願いします。
Yes, this she's new. I'm warning. Kirsten, I'm looking forward to this deal again. And likewise. I think we need a bigger roster if we want to survive this. You're right, all the customers won't matter if you don't have the staff to handle them. I'm too lazy to read it. Oops. Okay, that's not bad. there's something here.
Hi.
Yes!
Oh, who are you? Ah, this is Suzaki. Greetings. I'm Mark. Buona! I'm really not sure about this guy. He's the official play-by-play announcer of Cabaret Grand Prix. Nobody knows Cabaret clubs better than him, so he spices the tournament with commentary for spectators. So, what exactly is he now? Well, being fortunate, I was invited to the tournament with a special exception. I have to come to stop myself. Nothing can tell you more than your own two eyes. Words I live by, my man. Oh. But my, I think the legendary hostess himself can club like this. Legendary hostess? You know, back like that, Yakuza was #1 hostess in Southern Body. She was my whole inspiration to get into the seniors. Really? That's incredibly something. Now about me, I'm all the past. I'm just a regular old lady now. Anyway, on with your explanation. Oh, that's right. Let's discuss Cabaret Club leagues of Grand Prix. First, the Cabaret clubs are divided into 4 leagues. Fresh League, where are the new clubs? Find out then. Okay. Finding your identity. The Vivacious what? Paradise will play was Merrymakers their name. Executive League, only grown upper crust. The name of the final service. We need another league by multiple server cash like Petty to find the Cabaret Grand Prix final champion. Right. Obviously we want to okay, what happened then? We'll take a spot. You will rise your first place in the league. You will earn the right of the challenge of the league champion. It might be simply the reign of victor of the league. My man, the strongest all of the 100 oldest club run by the Kazaki group. By the way, okay. So Kazaki is more than just hot air. Means that if we can defeat the champion, we can take that away. Yes, that's correct. Yes, and it affords you the right to challenge other leagues. Followed by that to its logical conclusion, where you have to become champion of one leagues. Now and then, the true Cabaret Club Grand Prix begin as a challenge to the Grand Champion. Grand Champion, and the Grand Champion is the largest group in the Kanzaki group with the highest sales in the nation. The world renowned something about Sunshine. Sunshine, that's the club that Kera woman runs. So the big Kanzaki group we need to conquer all 4 leagues and take down Sunshine. Yeah, it's going to take. It's a long road ahead of us. Jesus Christ. I'm so lazy to freaking read. Yeah, I wish I could say it would be easy too. But we are just going to have to buckle up right over the Sunshine and run the bomb. That's right, yeah, you can do it. You may be smart, but you got the gumptions for shine. I shall see you at the tournament. Wish you all the best of luck. Thank you for the explanation bonus. Fortunately, it feels like we'll get interesting. Oh yeah, we're going to get. It's going to be interesting. So the curtain rises for the Cabaret Grand Prix. Or Shine is the freshest league. That's your department panel. Yes. Not imagine that I have any hope for reaching the league championship, but if they defy the odds, I expect you to crush them without hesitation. Yes, as you wish. I'm sure you will come on top of it no matter how things shake out. You may like it the experience, but the club still carries the Kazaki group name, and you have no tolerance for anyone who disgraced us. Is that clear? Of course, I have no intention of losing. Kanzaki-san, as clever as Kana-san is, I know she was still new to the business, right? Sure that. She doesn't look like really Asian. True that. Don't you think it might be totally stressing her out? Because last time you're so scary. Lol. My apologies, Atlas. The true nature just slips out. But it just means that you have high expectations for you. considering it's a challenge. Of course, I will give you my best. Good luck, Ocean. How far they can possibly go? Who knows? I'm sure that Kana can handle them. That Clap and Yuki, the matter, and really, I think that would be rather without that, honestly. Yuki-san, this isn't over between us. So do they want to open the club? Yeah, well, yeah. Let's try this again. Just, yeah. This is a bit too accurate. This is weird. Oh, okay. How can I get her HP high? Only her this. G. Okay. How can I start? Oh. I'll have to try this again. How do I... How can I open? Or is it too early? No. Things about this here. Oh, because she's platinum, I think. Alright, what kind of skills she has? BSBBB. Okay. Yes, I guess cannot do a shift today. Let's get out. Okay, let's try this. I hope this is not too long. Can I open now? So that is how you can like partnership with them. Or I guess not. Okay. Let me just check here. So I need to go get as much as possible of those partnerships. Let's go with this story. Oops. No. Nope. Let's go here.
このままやったら体が持たへんよ。
ほっといて。
なんであんたはそうやって無茶すんの。
ママが何も話してくれへんからやないか。
何べんも言うてるやんか。あんたの両親とヤクザは関係ないって。
だったら教えてよ。私の本当の親は誰なの？はあ、もうこの話はええわ。とにかく私はあの桐生一馬を追いかける。
なんでや？
あの男が登場界の人間だからよ。
登場界？
彼の身辺保護をすれば登場界に近づける。そうすれば過去に何があったか調べることができるわ。
カール、あんた
まだいたんか。
もうなんともないわ。
水一杯くれねえか。
佐山です。あ、はい。ちょっと怪我をしまして。はい。はい、一緒です。え？あ、はい、わかりました。うちの課長から。
え？桐生だ。
府警4課の別所や。うちの佐山から捜査の話は聞いとるな。
ああ。だが俺に何の用だ。
聞いて腰抜かすなや。あんたの連れと合田会長がどこぞの連中に誘拐されよった。
なんだと？
駆けつけたうちの捜査員にあいつらマシンガンぶっ放して逃げよったそうや。
交流会か？
いや、それが外国語を喋っとったそうや。心当たりあるか？
いや。
そうか。ほんならええわ。それが知りたかっただけや。それよりさっさとカムロ町へ戻った方がええんやないか。
カムロ町に？だがこのまま大悟と会長をほっとくわけにはいかない。
逃げ た車のナンバーはカムロ町方面のナンバーやったそうや。
何？
わしが言えんのはそこまでや。立場もあるしの。
分かった。オンに切る。
ええか、お前の玉、四花と狭山が握ってるっちゅうのを忘れんなよ。
分かった。
ほな。
カムロ町へ帰る。
え？
府警の管轄外だ。お前は残ってもいいんだぞ。
あなたの身辺保護を頼まれた以上管轄なんてないわ。私も行くわ。
She is so feisty.
勝手にしろ。
Back to Kamurocho, huh? Eesh. Chapter 5. Okay. Get best. Hey, back to this place.
どうしたんだ？
大丈夫よ。ちょっとめまいがしただけ。
まだ熱が引いてないんだな。
大丈夫って言ってるでしょ。ほっといてよ。やめてよ。恥ずかしいじゃない。
うるさい。ちょっとそこまで行くだけだ。
Is that the old place that we were drinking? What was that called? Forgot. We used to with that Nishiki and him.
ここはどこ？
俺の馴染みの店だったところだ。
Yep. I think it is.
そう。
無理してついてくるからこうなるんだ。
休めばすぐに良くなるわ。
あれから営業はしてないようだが、電気は使えるようだ。
Pronto? Ah, it's him. Kira, right?
Hey.
Yeah, that Kira was. Where are we now? Just got back to Kamurocho. Getting some crazy people remotes out of the Kansai. What the heck happened out there? Chairman God and Tiago were abducted, and I don't know who's behind it yet. I'm headed down to Dojo each plan. I'll be rounded the officer. They want to hear this. Guess it's time to catch a cab. And I'm going to finish it up for today. Get out. So yeah, thanks to all for being here, appreciate it. Thanks to Chicago for being here. And thanks to Mayujior, thank you very much for the follow, we appreciate it. Also thanks, to join my gate room. Thanks to others who joined, who watching. I hope it was. I think there was no lags there because I need to limit my frames. I think that's better. So yeah, it was fun as always. A lot of stuff was done. So yeah, the next one is going to be on Monday. So yeah, until then, I wish you a nice Friday, nice weekend, and have fun.